You ever get halfway through making lunch and then think, wait, do I even want this? That was me just the other day. So I thought, why not reinvent a classic, but make it feel like something totally new? So today, we're gonna make a vegan BLT with crispy marinated tofu bacon, a creamy avocado lime sauce, and a crunchy coleslaw. It's simple, satisfying, and way more exciting than your usual lunch. Okay, let's dive into some of the fresh ingredients. Green cabbage, green onions, garlic, cilantro, limes, and an avocado. First up is our head of cabbage. For this recipe, you'll have plenty left over. Chop it in half, then chop the half in half, and this should be just about as much as you're gonna need. Slice into thin strips, then add to a bowl and set aside. We're using this as the base of our coleslaw. Next, let's mince our garlic. Now, we're only using 1 clove of garlic for this recipe. I know. Some of you are already looking at me like I betrayed everything I stand for. And listen, I get it. If there's not 6 to 8 cloves on the table of garlic, then I mean, like, really, what are we doing? But sometimes restraint is the real flex, or at least that's what I'm telling myself today. With that out of the way, let's move on to our cilantro. We're actually using it in 2 places in today's recipe. So one batch, I'm going to mince finely. This one's gonna be used for our sauce. And the other, I'm gonna leave that roughly chopped. This way, we can add some texture to our coleslaw. Now for the green onions, and this also will be added to the cabbage bowl. And lastly, I'm just gonna slide our limes and avocado in here, and we'll get right back to those. Okay, now, let's talk tofu bacon. We're using extra firm tofu, so no need for pressing here. Lay it out on a clean towel and pat it dry. This is gonna help it absorb and cling to the marinade better. From there, slice your tofu into about 1/4-inch pieces. You could go thinner, but I'm looking for more of a meatier bite when it comes to the sandwich. And if you happen to go thinner, you could always just stack it for that, meatier textured version. Sidebar, it sounds like I'm saying meteor, like the rock shower from space. And I'm saying meatier. Meteor. That didn't help. Okay, now let's work on the marinade. In a sealable container, let's add some soy sauce, olive oil, liquid smoke, maple syrup, Worcestershire, nutritional yeast, garlic powder, onion powder, and smoked paprika. You're gonna whisk this all together until smooth. This marinade brings a smoky, salty, slightly sweet flavor, kind of like a hickory maple bacon vibe, without the meat. Add the tofu into the marinade, and don't forget to flip it over to coat it. Let that marinate in the fridge for about 30 minutes. But if you have time, or you're prepping ahead, you could do this overnight or up to about 3 days, and it makes it even better. While that's marinating, let's move back over to our coleslaw. Into the bowl that we already have our cabbage, onions, and cilantro in, we're gonna add in a plant-based yogurt. We're using a high-protein plant-based yogurt, but if you wanted, you could also do like plant-based mayo or even sour cream. If you're choosing to go with a plant-based yogurt, you wanna choose one that's on the, further on the tangy side of the food spectrum, or I should say the taste spectrum. A sweet yogurt would absolutely ruin this. Could you imagine like a strawberry coleslaw? Wait a second. The brain's already working on a whole nother recipe and we're not even done talking about this one. Now add your lime juice, red wine vinegar, oil, maple syrup, cumin, coriander, and salt. This is called a quick coleslaw or a quick slaw. I just made that up. Regardless, you want this to sit for about 15 to 20 minutes. Believe me, it just gets better with time. I don't know what it is about coleslaw, but in my house, everybody has their own opinion on this. The kids, they want it sweet. The wife, a bit tangy. Me, I could just do with a bit of crunch. But I think we all agree that we want it creamy enough that just doesn't taste like cabbage. Now for our green sauce. We're gonna need an avocado, cilantro, garlic, zest from a lime, juice from a lime, plant-based mayo, maple syrup, and a bit of salt and pepper. You could do this with like a food processor, a small blender, or if you're like me, you can even use your immersion blender. In the immersion blender cup, I'm adding all the ingredients I went over earlier. The avocado I mentioned, the cilantro, lime zest, lime juice, garlic, plant-based mayo, maple syrup, and a bit of salt and pepper. Okay, blend that all together until smooth and creamy, and do your best to set it aside. Or just take a teeny spoonful for yourself. And then grab that baking tray for our tofu. While the oven is preheating, add your marinated tofu to the baking tray. I'm not using parchment paper or foil or anything really to separate the tofu from hitting the hot pan. That's why I'm using my seasoned pan. The tofu making contact with the pan directly is gonna create not only that caramelization, but those nice crispy edges. When layering your marinated tofu slices on the baking sheet, make sure you leave just a bit of space in between them. We're gonna bake this for somewhere between 20 to 25 minutes, or until the edges are crispy and the tofu's tender. And yes, you can also air fry this. Once done, we're gonna brush our leftover marinade on top of the tofu for an extra hit of flavor. With each one of the superhero parts of this recipe complete, it's time to assemble. Okay, here's how I do this, but you could always BYOS, build your own sandwich. Grab your favorite bread, and we're gonna give that thing a toast. This one I got from Aldi. Next up is a generous amount of our green sauce. And on top of that, we're gonna lay down as many tofu slices as we can. If you got a farmer's market, stop by there and grab some heirloom tomatoes. They can make all the difference, especially with a little salt and a little pepper added. Yeah, the tomato connoisseurs know what I'm talking about. And finally, a mound, if not every drop of your coleslaw right on top. Top it with a crispy lid, and if it looks like this when you push down, you know you did it right. And that's it. That is a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich reinvented. At least if I had to, give my take. Crispy, creamy, fresh, bold. This one was hard to eat. I feel like I was too busy staring at it. Listen, make the whole thing, make parts of it, just make it yours. The full recipe can be found linked in the description, or you can head right on over to my website, makeitdairyfree.com. Thank you so much for watching. You're amazing. And I'll see you next week. But until then, believe in good. Peace.